Hello everyone, and welcome back to my Let's Play series for Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I am S.A.N, and when we last left off, we had just finished scaling Mount Hebra, trying to make the Holy Mount Lanayru. We also met Conde, a friendly Yeti along the way, and we made it here to the main rift in the region, and now we're in the stilled Hebra Mountains. Additionally, Conde's older brother seems to be here, or at the very least, yet another Rift-born imposter impersonating him seems to be here, causing problems. But we haven't really had much time to interact with him yet. He's mainly just been staying ahead of us, and we'll see how that goes when we catch up to him. Alright. So as you can see, we can walk in clouds in here. There's something about the stilled realm that causes these clouds to become solid. We also have to deal with these tornadoes, which we haven't had to deal with before very much. They encountered them in, fortunately they don't do damage. We encountered them in the Gerudo Desert, but we didn't really interact with them very much. Here, they're of course designed to knock us off these clouds. Fortunately, these clouds are solid enough for us to summon echoes on and build bridges out of. Also, last time I picked up the Freezard Echo, which lets me have access to my Frost Breath spell from Dungeons & Dragons, and Magic the Gathering, and Shin Megami Tensei, and a bunch of other games that I really do like it. And here we get a new Echo, the Cloud Echo. So this functions very similar to the Bed Echo and various things. It's basically just a platform you can conjure midair. It's quite handy. It's more expensive. It costs 2 echoes, but this might eventually end up replacing the beds I use for making platforms out of. Another one of these Moa, I think that's what they're called. It's not attacking. It's preventing me from picking it up because it's on top. Wow, that's Huh. Alright, it's the first time I've ever seen an enemy just go off like that and not care. Alright, what's in this chest? I still don't know what these monster stones are for, so they're probably not that important. I'm not gonna need that Dark Nut Echo now that I have the upgraded one. Yeah, my favorites is getting a little full. I'm going to need to trim some of these down at some point. New version of these things. So these versions just create gusts of wind. Fortunately, we seem to be able to avoid them here. Alright, let's see where this goes. Ah, here we go. I knew they were going to become a problem at some point. So, I'm pretty sure their breath can disperse these clouds. Probably going to need a flying echo of some sort. The ice geese, maybe? Oh, but it can just be blown away by the gust of wind, and it's not very aggressive. There we go. Unfortunately, defeating it that way means I can't get the echo. I mean, I know I'm probably never going to use this echo, and I've already got more than I need, but it would be nice to get all the echoes in this game. It's, again, it's part of the whole gotta catch them all strategy of Pokemon. Which is, there's no reason to do it other than the fact that you just want to collect them, because it's kind of the point of the game. Ah, there we go. I knew they could disperse the clouds. Fortunately, I don't take falling damage in this game, so it's kind of pointless. Alright, so it'll get me to the treasure chest at least. Just some rupees. Yeah, I guess maybe using the bow? Okay, that kills them, but it's gonna keep floating down. How do I get... Oh, it comes back. Okay, now I just have to wait for it to come back. Just have to wait for it to come back. Does that only do that once? Wait, why does it only do that once? That makes no sense. Alright, well, I guess now I'm going to try and get down to that echo to get it. I wonder how long that's going to take. Yeah, I can't really summon these too accurately. Oh, and there I fall again. Get used to that. This is probably going to happen a fair bit. Oh, okay, it was there for a moment. The window for learning the echo was there for a moment, but it's a very narrow window, it seems, and it has to be position-based. Okay, it was at the very bottom of the screen. This is, Nintendo, this is an oversight on your part. The fact that I can just keep doing this forever, by the way. Because it really does mean I have no reason not to do this, even though... Okay, that's the bottom of the screen. I can't conjure echoes there. Okay. And they're gonna keep trying to do this now. This is just almost oh, I almost got... I hit the wrong button. That's a problem when you have these tense situations. You panic. And then you press the wrong button. I'm hitting R, I believe, instead of ZR, which is to learn the echo. Yeah. Well, I'm committed to this now, so I might as well finish it. Oh. Oh, why did I get... What? Why was it over here? Finally! Alright, I learned the Gyro Echo. Alright. Yep. It has a strong gust of wind style breath. Something I'll probably never use, but there we go. There we go. Sometimes you have to rely on the tried and true. Alright, now we have to deal with these ice slugs. We saw the fire-based ones in Elden briefly when I was over in Kakariko Village. Okay, yeah, so that's not going to work. The problem is this is still my only real fire echo. Yeah, see, it hits them, but it doesn't actually damage them. Unfortunately, I can just make it across. I mean, yeah, I can pepper them with arrows, but again, they fall to their death, which means I don't actually get to learn the echo. Kind of waste of time. Well, I'll probably encounter them again later. Or point. Alright, so we're in still Holy Mount Lanayru now. Getting closer and closer to the dungeon. And here we have some more ice keys. Just avoid them. Like I said, they're not very aggressive, so there's no real point in fighting them. Alright. Build a staircase out of clouds. Oh, okay. The ice Octoroks. Oh, and the Wolf-Ups. Ah, they hit me. Wow, it's really good at evading. It's like a wolf fighting a Dalek. Okay, so I'm immune to the frostbite. That's good. Yeah. Doesn't do too much damage, but it is good for freezing things, so it's probably going to come in handy. Especially in the fire location, which I might go to next. I haven't decided yet. I might decide to do what I did in Tears of the Kingdom, which is leave Elden till last. I probably should just swim across. Yep. Since I'm going to have to do it anyway now. Yeah, the cold isn't too bad short term. Okay. Need to make... yeah. Path of Clouds. Oh, it's just a treasure chest. So this isn't the right way to go, then. 50 rupees. Alright. Money's fairly generous in this game, but not as generous as previous Zelda games. Take a short cat nap. And now, see if we can find the correct way to go. So, judging by the map, it looks like we have to head up this way. Yeah, avoid them. No. Yeah, other way. Alright, let's see. Not much space here to make the staircase I need. Alright. Tight quarters, but it might work. Another Wolfos. Let's leave it. It can play with the freezer while I go. Oh, another Wolfos. I'm guessing that what those things turn into is not based on the echoes you have, but actually on just what's in the region. Oh, what's this? This looks important. Looks like a mural. Yeah, see, it sounds like Conde's older brother really does care about him. So, I mean, it's probably an imposter. That's been the trend so far. These rifts create imposters of people or things of significance to each region to defend themselves. That seems to have been the way things have been so far. That's been the pattern. Oh, okay. Looks like we reached the dungeon. And he's in here too. Yes, they are. Lanayru Temple. Alright. Okay, so it seems to be an inverse vertical tower. So we have to keep going down. Yes, I remember this dungeon. Alright, let's follow this metal pathway here. And see where it leads us. No enemies in here, but I suspect that water's freezing. Alright, so this fire emblem, to name drop another Nintendo game, is what it looks like, is probably going to be important. Yeah, slight problem. I'm now kind of stretched from this thing now. Yeah, okay. It just hits the ground. Let's try it again, but let's do it closer this time. Yeah, that should be much better. Sometimes the positioning can be tricky. Alright, so now that we've inserted this fire emblem here, we can see the main mechanic of this dungeon, which is manipulating temperature. We have to thaw and freeze things repeatedly. As we progress through the dungeon, we'll also see that there will be ice emblems that we can use to lower the temperature and freeze things again. Before we go down a floor, what's through here? Just some Octoroks. And some ice blocks. See, I told you those ice blocks were the echo would come in handy. I told you there's going to be an ice block sliding puzzle. There always is. Alright, no match for the Dark. Can I use these ice blocks to actually damage things? Can I throw them into it? No. And I guess now we'll never know. Didn't damage my Darknet, but it is my Echo, so I don't know if that matters or not. All that for rock salt. Alright. Let's see what's on the floor below. Let's take it out with the giant snowball. Let's weaponize my childhood trauma again. For those of you that don't know, I mentioned last time how when I was young, a snow boulder rolled over my leg, and it was quite painful. And that's what I'm referencing. I won't tell the whole story again because I just mentioned it previously, but yeah, so watch it. It's in the previous video if you want the full details of it. Very effective. And that means we don't have to worry about those ice jets up there. Alright, and now we need to block these with this rock. Slippery, icy floors. Classic Zelda staple. This ice block should work, actually, which is well. We can line it up correctly. There we go. And skate across and avoid the ice keys. Ah, this room. I remember this room. This room gave me trouble last time. Let's see if I can remember how to solve it correctly. So we need to make it out of this room. There you go. See, so we need this fire emblem. Oh, if it passes through the ice jet. I did that on purpose, by the way, just to demonstrate this. It'll become an ice emblem, which will freeze everything. It's already frozen, so it has no effect, but this is how this works. Alright. Now I just need to jump properly. Nope. Timing is going to be an issue here. Oh, wrong thing. There we go. Alright, let's thaw everything in that other room. Alright. So. Yeah. The frost jet can still damage me, unfortunately. So there's a key there that I don't see at the moment. By the way, in case you're wondering why. When I was recording this, I didn't notice the key was there at the moment. I'm still trying to figure out what was in this room that gave me trouble last time. If I remember correctly, it was because I forgot to switch things back? The temperatures? I honestly don't remember. Oh. It is not important, because it's going to be a different issue this time. So what we're supposed to do is get that key, and then we're supposed to refreeze the room and stack those boulders over there to block the jets of hot air, and then we're supposed to go up through that door. It's going to take me a little while to puzzle that all out. And yeah, there's something weird here where if you're right next to the boulder, it will try and... Yeah, see. Alright, so I'm going to go back now. Yeah, this tunnel vision thing is a problem sometimes when you're recording videos. Alright, so I'm going to freeze things again, which is pointless. It wastes time, but whatever. Like I said, this was one of the dungeons that actually this room specifically gave me some problems last time. There you go. Now you can see that everything refreezes at least. Now I check the map just to make sure I'm not missing anything. There was a chest up there apparently I missed, but it's not important. Alright, and... there you go. I noticed the key now. Not sure what caused me the problem last time. I honestly just do not. Alright. Melt everything one more time. Because if I remember correctly... I don't remember what it was last time. I honestly don't. Anyway, so we now have to get the key, which is easy. Just dive down for it. Now we can open the door. And I'm going to get frozen one more time. Alright. And now we refreeze everything. And now we have to get out of this room by blocking the flame jets. The puzzles do get trickier in this game. There we go. Just block that now. Alright. So, put this one in position. See, I have to use these 3 boulders here, as opposed to something else. Because, well, I need to use all my echoes to get up there myself. Alright. Yep. Ow. Yeah, you have to be careful because the flame jets will burn you. Right. Yeah. Top one first. There we go. Yeah. Getting even close to these things is difficult. But the flame jets will... Yeah, the water doesn't protect you from them. So... Guess that makes sense. The heat would boil the water. Yeah, so at this point I just look for an actual boulder. Echo. Just conjure in place and hold it there. Because it is only one. There we go. And that solves that problem. But first I'm going to take a rest because that took a lot of my hearts. Alright. Let's see what's through here. Another ladder. Alright, here's an interesting puzzle we have to solve here. So we have these two frost jets here. As you see, the icicle blocks them. So what we have to do is bind the icicle into a mobile ice wall and take it with us to act as a shield against the icy wind. There we go. Pretty simple. That's quite effective. I'm really impressed that it worked out. Alright. Oh! Okay, mistimed that. Alright. There we go. I'm surprised we can't actually get an icicle echo. I guess there was no real point. Alright, yet more frost jets to avoid. This should be fairly straightforward. Just build a bridge of water blocks over it. Yeah. The clouds are very fragile. So we need something else. There we go. Jump to that one. There was something up there. Probably go see what that is. There might be a hidden key I need. Oh! That's not good. Oh, there. Fortunately, we come here. Zelda dungeons do love placing small keys in hard-to-reach places. Not this time, it's just a golden egg. Oh well. Better safe than sorry. Alright. On we go. I really do love these water block echoes. Yeah, I don't think the clouds are going to be as useful as this. There we go. Alright, so we have a giant ice wall, several ice blocks, and a lit brazier. Presumably we are supposed to melt these ice blocks with the brazier, but we can only get ones on that side. There's that locked door there, so we need a key. And there's some sort of fan there for the mechanism for... So we need to follow the ice wall at some point. I don't think I can reach those. Yeah, not even with the... Yeah, try can't reach those. So... Can't get these over there. We'll have to melt them ourselves. One too soon. Alright. Key? One of these ice blocks? It's possible. It's done before. In Minish Cap, it was the boss key that was on one of them. Ah, a way down. There we go. Alright, so that's where we have to bring the fire emblem. We have to avoid all these frost jets and ice slugs. Alright, let's jump to here. Alright. Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's see what we have to do now. I presume that that trail of ice crystals can damage me. Oh! No, contact with it again. I do want to get this echo, but I do not... Yeah, that's not gonna work. I need a flying echo. Well, the ice keys cannot freeze it, but they should be able to damage it. That seems to have been the rule thus far. Probably should favor the Ice Keys. It is the only effective flying echo I have at the moment. Gone now. Oh, there's a bit. It's back. It's lost interest. Yeah. The keys are not very good. That's why I don't use them. But when this is all you have to use, you really don't have much choice. Wow, how tough is this thing? I mean, it's probably taking half damage. There we go. The Freeze Slug Echo. Alright, now let's bring this fire emblem with us. Alright, so we just wait for these frost jets to die down. And then we proceed. Those ones don't stop, so we have to come this way, presumably. And it should just be a matter of summoning some water blocks to make a passageway up. And there we go. Straightforward. And that should thaw the room above us. There we go. Alright, I do not see a key, so presumably we have to go this way to find it. Here we see another new type of puzzle. Sliding block ones, but as you can see, whenever you press one of these buttons down, the other one will light up. That's right, we have to do these at the same time. So I'm just going to reset this for a moment. Right, so what we have to do is put an ice block behind there. And one behind there. And then get the timing right. There we go. Not too difficult, but there's a much more difficult one coming up. And this should get us the key we need. There we go. Alright, more of these Hot Spring Talos ones. Alright. So, yeah, the freeze arts will work well here, because they're immune to the frost jets. And their frost breath doesn't freeze them, but the damage is enough to interrupt their actions on occasion. This is just going to be take a while because these things are tough. I see all the little energy particles flying around, floating around. This is probably meant to be intended to be done in the sword fighter form, but I prefer to do it this way. Besides, this costs me nothing. Alright, another one. Yeah. You can easily see that they also want us to close off some of these frost jets with the ice blocks. Could do. If you really want, but there's no real need. That one over there is actually helping us by damaging that Talos. Yeah, this is gonna take a little while. There we go, one down. Well, two down, technically. I wonder if I can lure the other one into one of the ice jets. There we go. Alright, last one. Ah, finally. There we go. Alright, so that unlocks the door, and we get a chest. I hope this is the map, because if it isn't the map, we've definitely missed it by this point. It is the map, good. I always feel more comfortable exploring a dungeon when I have the map. Alright, so... yeah, we're almost done with this floor. And we haven't really missed anything on the floors above. I don't understand why there are these warp points in the dungeon itself. Is it just so you can get around more easily? But this one is... there's no real backtracking in this dungeon. Okay, time for a mini-boss. We haven't had many of those yet, but this is the second act now in the Zelda game, and usually by this point, this is when the difficulty ramps up. So this Thermazole, I guess is what I call it. I don't know if that's his actual name, but it's probably something like that, is similar to a boss that was in Majora's Mask, I believe. You have to freeze it, and as you can see, then damage it, but it's not quite frozen there yet. I also tried just throwing it back in here to see if this is a hot and cold situation, but no, it's not. Interestingly, you can freeze it even when it's in the hot spring. It just thaws much more quickly. So we have to wait for it to come out. Yeah, it'll do its jump thing again. And now we freeze it. At this point, it's actually not that difficult as a fight. There we go. And now we hit it with the sword, trying to crack it. The Freezer is very good at this. Unfortunately, it won't survive long enough to freeze it fully once it's active again. Takes a lot of hits, by the way. And now it divides. This is where this fight actually starts getting difficult. Because now we have two things to keep track of. As I'm sure as you can tell from most meiotic dividing entities in Zelda games, this is only going to get worse, because those are still quite big. Also, now the Freezer can't focus on just one, it kind of has to get distracted easily. Fortunately, it takes this takes half as many hits now to get rid of one. Yeah, I'm going to need to drink these potions just to refill my energy meter. Alright. There we go. Yeah. This is starting still manageable at this point, but it's going to start getting worse. So now, divides again. The good news is, again, these small ones don't take nearly as much effort to split apart and destroy. Alright, now that's as small as they go, in case you're wondering. So we kind of have a bit of a difficult situation here. We're about to have four small form ones and one still medium-sized one left. I probably should have focused on the bigger one first, and then try to get them all down to this size, because once they're this size, it's fairly straightforward for the Freezer to just freeze them quickly. Yeah, we need to drink a potion. Unfortunately, that's not what happened, and the numbers are starting to get ridiculous, so I do have to start finishing off these small ones now. Well, this game does get more difficult, and this is mini-boss is actually proving more of a challenge than, well, a lot of the bosses so far. Alright. We're down to 2 now. Alright, keep freezing it. Get rid of that one. It's thawing it while I'm trying to freeze it. That was actually that was probably just by circumstance. It looks like it is trying to aim for the freezer. Alright. Ignore the little one for the moment. See if we can knock this one apart. There we go. These little ones aren't too much of an issue now. Yeah, this is the right decision to try and start splitting up the big ones first. Because otherwise, we start just getting swarmed by the little ones. Worry about the lions, and the ants will swarm you to death. An old Magic the Gathering flavor text that quite applies well to this. Alright. So we're just down to one small one, and one moderate-sized one. There we go. Okay. So that one is 2 left. So, because once we freeze it and divide it, it will be 2 small ones. And then we finish those off quickly. There we go. Last one left. And there we go. Mini boss defeated. Still, like I said, that was more challenging than most of the boss fights we've had so far. Well, this game does get more difficult from here on out. And I definitely need to take a rest after that. I love having access to this royal bed. Heals you so much more quickly. Alright, what's next? Alright, another 2D tunnel section. Alright. Lots of lit braziers and a lot of unlit braziers. I see where this is going. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Alright, so... trusty candles all. That one. There's probably 4 of them, isn't there? Because there almost always is. There's one of them. Alright, so this is a bit trickier. Oh, okay, freezing water. Work hard. There we go. I seem to be trying for some reason to take this brazier with me. Again, this is presumably one of the intended ways to do this, but this is actually much more difficult. There we go. Alright, and now just their candles all. Alright, that's 2. Dig down further. There's a wind tunnel over that way. Oh, this one's really easy. Just distant cast the Ignazole. There we go. 3, and this will be the 4th one. And out of place fire keys. Well, it's no longer an instant kill just like it was in Breath of the Wild and Tears, but at the very least, it's still effective. Alright. So, presumably, I have to get this keys to go up there. Oh, the wind tunnel will knock it away. Alright. Okay. Can I go that way? No, it's going to want it naturally. Alright, but hang on. I should be able to bind it and then just drag it over there. There we go. And that unlocks the way we need to go. Well, I did get a fire keys in an ice dungeon, but I guess we needed it for the puzzle. Alright, and where does this bring us out? Ah, there's the chest for the boss key. What's it switch to? Alright, so that rolls a boulder down that way, but it breaks when it hits there. Alright. Okay. This looks complicated. So now we have a fire emblem. Problem is we can't take these with us. They don't transition from screen to screen. Alright, ow. Alright, that was not the best. Eek. Lots of enemies in here. Chest there. Alright. So, we have to thaw a series of rooms here. Alright, let's see where this goes. This is a big floor, actually. Oh, more Tektites. Alright, and through here. Alright. Presumably, this is the room we have to take care of. Should actually just be able to knock these off with the gust cannon. There we go. Because they should slide just as easily as I do. Alright, so once we clear the path here, there it is. Okay. So, I need to take care of these enemies. And I see no reason not to just continue using my wind cannon strategy. Just push them off, like those jellyfish enemies in Link to the Past. Oh, we can bind enemies? I didn't know that. Oh, well, this makes this much simpler. Nope, fall again. Well, that simplifies things immensely. I don't think I have to worry about the keys. They're kind of busy just flying off in the distance. Alright, we're going to need to plug this, though, again. Right. Now it should be a simple matter of taking the fire emblem over there. I honestly did not know we could bind enemies to us. That is going to come in really handy. I have to remember that. Oh, now it's too close. Now we have the opposite problem. There we go. Drops in fine enough. Alright, so that thaws that room. So I have to swim through there with the Tektites. Oh, and it thaws that room. I believe there was a switch under there that we need to trigger, which will presumably open that door. Alright, making some progress now. Okay, so I have to get to that chest, but these Tektites are going to be annoying. I'm running low on hearts. Alright. Go, Sharpedo! Alright, I should be fine as long as I stay under the water. But the shark isn't the most accurate echo. Alright, there we go. Take care of that one. Tektite level 2 echo. I never like these things. Alright, there we go. And some hearts. And now we should just be a simple matter of going over this last grate and getting to the treasure chest. There we go. And all that for just a monster stone. Seriously, in the comments, let me know what that's for. Or I'll just look it up, I don't know. It's probably never going to matter. Alright, heal. And now let's continue. Yeah, there was a switch under the ice, I remember that, so it's just a matter of weighing it down with this rock. Alright. Oh! Position's wrong. So that unlocks that, which leads through this metal track back to the fan that's in the room over there. Alright. Ah, remember I told you there was a more complicated sliding block puzzle? This is it. But first we have to freeze this room so we can access it. Fortunately, that's going to be pretty straightforward. Grab this fire emblem, freeze it, jump over the last thermal vent, and freeze the entire room. Nice and straightforward. And the reason that's so straightforward is because this sliding block puzzle is very difficult. The timing here has to be very precise, as you're about to see. Alright, so one from here, and one from here. There are two ways to go about this. Obviously, this is the first way. Trying to get the timing right. For sliding both the ice blocks. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, as you can see. Near as I can tell, there's one way of getting this to work, but it still requires very good timing. You'll see it in a moment where I try to do here. So you push that one. Try and skate over this one and push it in just in time, but the timing has to be very precise. You can't afford any mistakes. You can try hopping jumping over that fence there, the iron railing, as you'll see in a moment. And that can kind of give you a bit of an edge, but it still requires, the timing has to be so precise. It's almost not worth doing. There is a far simpler way to do this, as you'll see in a moment. Yeah, see, I'm trying to figure out, can I just jump the railing? Yeah, see. I figure I can do that. So that's one way of doing it. I also just try positioning this one much closer because this one's obviously taking a bit longer to get to. And no, timing is still off. So in a moment here, I'm going to probably just get tired of this and try something else. And then I'll explain to you which is the far simpler way of doing this. Alright, ready for the simple approach? Make an ice block. Wait for it to get there, and then just press the other one down yourself. There's no rule saying you have to use both ice blocks for both of them. You just have to get both switches at the same time. And now we have a white Wolfos to fight. It's immune to cold, so it can't be frozen, unlike the regular Wolfoses, and it summons two regular ones to help it. This is actually another, I guess, a mini boss if you want. actually fairly tough. Especially since they're going to fight, well, like wolves! And come at you from all sides. Fortunately, they're no match for the Dark Nut 2.0. Spin to win! Spin to win! Unfortunately, you have to take out the White Wolfos, because as you can see, if you do not, it'll just keep summoning more. A tag team approach is probably the best. Yeah. Just keep filling it full of arrows. No, you are stuck. Welcome to being stun locked. Welcome to fighting against blue control, everyone. That's why I love it. No, you may not have a turn. I love doing that in games other than Magic the Gathering. Alright, we have the White Wolfos Echo. Probably not going to make much use of this, despite the fact I can summon a whole wolf pack. Maybe I will. Yeah, this dungeon's definitely more difficult than the ones we've been through thus far. Alright, so this should be the last step for this. Alright, so... Ah! Alright, so block that off. Block the freezer off. Bring this with us. Block this frost jet off. Block that frost jet off. And just avoid that freezer and we should be fine. Alright. Very long path for this heat to follow. We'll finally be able to thaw this room. We're just one room away from being able to get to the boss key now. Well, let's have a shortcut up here we can use now. Not necessary, but it's still nice. Alright. Light the brazier. Turn the ice emblem into a fire emblem. Thaw the next room, which will melt all of the ice stalactites. Or stalagmites, sorry. And we should be good to go. Unfortunately, there's one more step. Now we have to refreeze this room, because otherwise the snowball is just going to hit the water and then fall apart. Alright, so, freeze the room. So the water becomes ice. The icicles will not reform, because we've already melted those. And now the snowball has a clear run to the switch we need. I know it didn't look like it hit the switch, but it did. Alright. And now we have the boss key. And down we go. And there's the boss door. It wasn't very far away. So... I don't exactly remember what the boss in this is like, dungeon. It's not as... This one's not as memorable as some of the other ones. However, I suspect it has to do with the doppelganger of Conde's brother. Yeah, I'm going to refill my energy meter here because I've used a lot of it thus far. And should be fine after that. Right. I do not remember what to expect, so let's save just to be on the safe side and let's head in. Yeah, I was right, it is him. This one seems a little different. Yeah, no, it's an imposter, right? Oh, no, it's something else entirely. It's Scorchill. So this is the boss here. Well, it fits because this dungeon has very much a fire and ice theme to it. Alright, so he's going to start having a tantrum and causing icicles to rain from the ceiling. As you can see here, because I don't remember this boss fight very well, I don't remember exactly what I'm supposed to do at this point. He's going to start spinning around. We can use the icicles as cover. So, as you can see, on top of his helmet, he has 3 horns. Each of these horns, basically, we have to destroy them to damage the helmet and destroy it. He's protected by a shell at this point. As you can see, he'll do this ground pound attack, and that leaves the horns on the helmet vulnerable, and we need something of the opposing element he currently is to damage it. So fire in this case, and there's going to be a fire round, so we need to use ice. And then the third and final phase is kind of quite similar to Twin Rova from Ocarina of Time when he has access to both at the same time. And we need to be much more variable about this. In all honesty, this is probably the boss fight where the fire and ice keys shine. But I haven't figured that out just yet. But they come quite handy for those of you who want to make this a bit simpler, because they can just fly right into his horns. He also seems to lose track of me sometimes. There we go. Alright, they got both of the horns this time. Alright, see, and now at this point, what we have to do is actually damage him because his protective shell is gone. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that just yet. See, because it took too long, he remade his protective shell, and now there's a horn back on the helmet. Fortunately, just one, so it's not a complete reset, but I do have to start over again. What you're supposed to do is obviously turn to the sword fighter form, or summon an echo to damage him once his shell is gone. Fortunately, despite that, at this point, still pretty straightforward, this boss fight. He's not too difficult in this phase. Just a matter of waiting for him to cooperate, basically. I even tried shooting at the helmet to try and damage it, but no. And then I can start throwing the pot at him. Yeah, his spin attack there does freeze you, because it's generated cold. There we go. Now we hit him. It cause actual damage. Unfortunately, now he also becomes slightly more aggressive. His aim is actually surprisingly good. This is almost approaching Dark Soul boss level of aiming. Because every time I try dodging... There you go. I decided to summon the Darknet here, because it can beat on him as well, while I circle around. There we go! First phase done. Unfortunately, he has a second helmet. This one is the fire round. And this one's much more dangerous. He's going to start spitting fireballs everywhere, which leave flames everywhere, and... So yeah, I figured at this point, now we need ice. And he also casts this big firestorm spell. That hurts if you get hit by it, obviously. But, there we go. I've learned that as long as you can distract him with an echo, you should be fine. Yeah. as long as you don't get pounded into the ground because that wastes time. And then you just need something to freeze the helmet. There we go. One horn down. He seems to be more willing to cooperate at this point. Or at the very least, I keep him focusing on the echoes, and they're able to, at least for the most part, get some hits in. Don't ask me what that protective shell is made of, because it's clearly not ice at this point. And yeah, this is gonna hurt. Yeah, 2 hearts worth of damage for that firestorm. Plus more damage if you keep burning. Alright, 2 horns down. We're much more smoothly now. Alright, I was actually able to dodge it that time. Unfortunately, the flames got me. You're gonna take out the freezer. Well, at least that means I'm safe. Alright, yes. You wanna bring the helmet down to the freezer's level so we can freeze it. Almost there. A couple more hits will do. He's gonna start doing this again. Alright, running low on potions again. Well, I'll get more before we proceed to the next dungeon, obviously. We're going to need them, by the looks of it. Ah! Yeah, the fire phase is far more aggressive than the ice phase. There we go, alright. Now we just need to beat on him until we destroy the fire. And not get incinerated in a firestorm. Yeah, alright. Out of energy. So now we need to rely on the dark knight for a bit. There we go. Second helmet gone, and now he pulls out the fire and ice helmet for phase 3. So as you can see, he'll switch between fire and ice this time, so you have to actually be pretty much quicker on the switching between the elements you want to use here, because he does not give you much time. It's also around this time I realized that probably the fire and ice keys are good for this fight. Specifically because they are fast, they fly, and they can go right for the helmet without having to worry about him coming down to the other echo's height. Honestly, this probably would have gone a lot faster had I just gone with the keys to begin with, but I'm used to them not being very good, so this is lesson learned, I suppose. Yeah, as you can see, it only takes a couple hits from them to take it out. Alright, now he's back to using fire. There we go. I have... Oh, it gave me back some energy. Yeah, but I'm still gonna summon the Dark Knight because it's quite helpful to have him around. Also, it's immune to a lot of his attacks. Alright. Just need to finish up here. Oh, so I'm immune to fire, apparently. Immune to the spin attack, but... Huh, that's interesting. This time I was doing the right thing, but he takes more to get rid of this time. I'm running low on hearts and potions. If this goes on much longer, I might need to use my fairy I have. Alright. Let's see how... There we go. Alright, so I go to the shell again. Oh, incoming firestorm. Well, at least he's aiming for me. No! Just one hit was all it took left. So close to getting rid of him the first time. Hey, heart container! A hard-won boss fight. Alright, another level up for try. Level 6. And at this point we get our 5th try point. I believe that's the last one. Just shy of level 7. There we go. We should be able to create all the echoes at this point. We needed the energy refill. Alright, and the story reason we came here. We get to communicate with Nehru now, the goddess of wisdom. Yeah, so she's one of the 3. Everyone remembers this from Ocarina of Time, I presume. Nehru is one of the 3 goddesses that created the Hyrule and the Triforce, and now she gives us her sanction. Essentially, her blessing or permission to act in her stead, essentially. We still need to get the other ones before we can get to the Prime Energy, or which is just the Triforce, is what they call it here. 2 remain, yes. We need to go to Eldin and Pharaon next. I haven't decided which one we're going to do yet. Probably not going to decide that until I start recording the next video. Yeah. We're a third of the way there, Try. That's what that means. Yeah, but I have a bad feeling that we're falling into a similar situation that happened in Ocarina of Time, where we might be doing the bad guys' work for them. Not the first time that's happened in the Zelda franchise, and it probably won't be the last either. Well, the good news is it wasn't his brother that hurt him. The bad news is his brother's just not here. That was just a monster this time, not an imposter. Alright. That brings up to 10 hearts. First row complete. It's always nice when that happens. Alright, let's go. Alright, we're back with Conde now. Yeah, he probably had no clue what was going on. Then again, that seems to be his default setting, so I'm not sure it really matters that much. Let's see if we can explain things. Yeah, we got rid of the rift for you. We also got rid of that other rift before when you did your Dragon Slayer moment, taking credit for it. Well, we have a bit more practice at doing these sorts of things. This is our 4th rift to take care of. Actually, no, 5th rift. Forgot about Hyrule Castle there for a moment. Yeah, we did find that in there. It's probably around here now. You can go read it. Yeah, it wasn't your brother. We'll overlook the fact that it probably feels a little insensitive on our part to say that we both mistook your brother for a monster for your brother, but we'll glaze over that. He did it too, so it's clearly not an issue. Yeah, I think Tri is beginning to get slightly more accustomed to human emotions now, and Yeti emotions. You're welcome. Okay, let's not get so happy you caused an avalanche. I know we're at the top of the mountain, but that doesn't mean I want to be back at the bottom of the mountain. Alright, well, he's clearly happy. We'll leave him to that. Yeah. Well, I'm sure he'll show up at some point. But we have other things to do now. Yep. Alright, so this is what we're going to call it today. This episode's gone a little over long, but I didn't want to stop before a boss fight again. Thank you for watching, everyone. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And please join me here again next time, as we will, first of all, finish up on Mount Lanayru, because I think there are a few things we haven't gotten so far. There's a couple echoes I remember getting last time that I want. One particular one I'm very happy about. But we'll have to pick that up next time. And then we will head to either Eldin or Pharaon. I haven't decided yet which. We'll see which one it is. Goodbye, everyone.